Denver's mayor is making some new promises and plans. He discussed them in his State of the City address last night. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Shocker. One of the promises is a universal child care program. Mayor Mike Johnson says child care has become a massive expense. So as 9 News reporter Spencer Soysher tells us, the mayor is pledging a program for kids from birth until kindergarten.
Denver Mayor Mike Johnston's third State of the City address came with some fancy music, a lot of big promises, and even more, how are we paying for this questions.
We will create the Haynes-Gary Task Force, charged with delivering the plan to deliver on child care for all before the end of our second term.
Perhaps the mayor's biggest promise was something he'd do before the end of a second term, which he hasn't been elected to. Establishing an affordable universal child care system. How much will that cost, and where's the money for that coming from?
Well, we won't know what it'll cost until we know what the system is going to build. What we want to do is figure out what their needs are, build a system that matches that, figure out what that system costs, and then what the revenue sources are we could use to support that.
In his speech, the mayor said the city would deliver 20,000 more housing units, along with what he's calling the Mile High Line, a path of large projects that have gone up or been approved in the city during his time as mayor.
We have resources in downtown. We have ownership of other sites. We have bond dollars that allowed us to buy land to use for housing. So we don't anticipate we need a new revenue source right now to fund that.
Last year, the city had a budget crisis and laid off 170 people and eliminated more than 660 positions. Will there be layoffs again in this upcoming budget cycle?
No, we have no plan for layoffs in this budget cycle, and we don't have a deficit this year because we made hard decisions last year.
The speech took a victory lap, too, on ways the city's fought back against the Trump administration, redeveloped portions of downtown, and brought in unhoused people. But is there anything the mayor would do differently?
I feel good about the way, you always want to solve problems sooner. I think with Flock, we knew people were concerned. That's why we asked to vote down the contract, and we said, let's take 3 months and figure out what a new parameter would be. We did that and then got rid of the contract.
The mayor said he planned to have a pilot for the universal child care program available to test by the fall of next year. That would fall after the mayoral election this coming April. And at last check, Johnson has not filed the paperwork for re-election, but if he's making these plans, it's a good indication that he plans to run again. Colorado officials also say the state will provide funding for 11 affordable housing projects across the state, with 5 of them in Denver. Recipients of the funding are projected to build more than 700 units that include apartments and townhomes. The funding comes from the voter-approved Prop 123, which was passed in 2022. A coalition that includes the state's teachers union wants a ballot measure that would cut more than $1 billion in Tabor refunds and put the money toward education. This was first reported by our partners at Colorado Politics. The group argues more money is needed for services and programs, but some others say education is getting enough, but the money isn't being used wisely. Under the proposal, the majority of Tabor refunds would be held for education for the next 10 years, but if there's enough of a budget surplus, some Tabor refunds would still go to taxpayers. More rain is coming to the mountains today, raising the risk for flash flooding and more mudslides. This morning, CDOT was able to reopen one eastbound lane of I-70 between Silt and Newcastle. They had been working since Monday night to clear mud and debris that covered and closed down the interstate. Mud, boulders, and debris that also covered State Highway 145 in San Miguel Canyon has been cleared up. Traffic was once again allowed in last night. So more rain for higher elevations. What are the chances down in the metro? Chris Bianchi with our 9 News Weather Impact team joining us now. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Sam. Yeah, I think that today the biggest flash flood risk will be along and west of the Continental Divide. And then tomorrow we're going to increase our humidity for northeastern Colorado, including the Denver area. Slightly higher flash flood risk in town tomorrow. But hey, if you're hoping for showers and storms, which based on the social media comments I've been getting is every single one of you, you're probably going to like today and tomorrow's forecast. Starting to see those clouds bubble on up, and those first showers and storms going up here along the I-70 corridor between about Vail and Central City. Seeing some of those storms right now. These are mostly weaker storms, just putting down a bit of rain. And then into southern Colorado, another day of monsoon rain for the San Juans, as well as east into the Sangre de Cristos. Futurecast, those shower storms, good coverage along and west of the Continental Divide. A lot of showers and storms. Denver, we will wait a little while to get our storms, but we'll have some between 2 and 10 p.m., perhaps multiple waves of storms this evening, and then more storms tomorrow with a flash flood threat as well, particularly for eastern Colorado. Closer look in at the metro area. Storms will develop over the next few hours. Then we'll see that potential for a second wave of storms later on this evening. That includes downtown Denver as well. I'm going to have details on that 7-day outlook and that threat for flash flooding. All that coming up in my full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. Fire officials believe lightning sparked 2 new fires in the state. The Moffat County Sheriff's Office is calling the Keystone Fire, and it was reported late yesterday morning about 20 miles from Meeker. It's burned about 175 acres in both Moffat and Rio Blanco counties. But the second one, the Fir Gulch Fire, is closer to Craig and larger. Officials there estimate it's about 1,500 acres in size and burning near the Yampa River. There's some increased containment of the Gold Mountain Fire near Ouray. The fire has burned about 59 square miles or 38,000 acres. Hotter and drier weather sparked a slight increase in fire activity, but it is now 24% contained. It was stuck at 12% containment for days. With several burn scars out there, that land is more susceptible to flash flooding. And as 90's reporter Ria Jha warns us, even small storms can turn it into big problems.
The timing of this is everything right now. This is the first rain since wildfires started burning in Colorado, and the expert we spoke with said these burn scars are especially vulnerable right now. Since many of these burn scars will be brand new, the landscape has had almost no time to recover, and the landscape is full of that loose material, everything that has been burned over the past few weeks: ash, soil, rocks, and even downed trees. So without vegetation to slow down or absorb the water, rain can quickly carry that material into drainages and across roads. So if you're hiking or camping this weekend, check whether your route or campsite is downhill from a recent burn area.
It doesn't take much rain. Again, it doesn't have to be a big storm. It could be something that's miles away from you that could cause this, and you never even see what's happening.
The expert we spoke with said these burn scars can be vulnerable for years, so make sure to check if the area that you're recreating in has had any previous wildfires, because that could also be a point of contention. Reporting in Denver, Ria Jha, 9 News.
This scene closed down the eastbound lanes of I-70 near Georgetown. A semi caught fire a little before 6 this morning. It was put out about 20 minutes later. No one was hurt.